Boom.
And we're live.
Hey, hi Noah. Lovely to see you.
Love to see you too.
Yeah, how are you doing?
Really good. Is this one?
Sorry, that's yours. I'll have mine. Thank you for this. So, I think it's been about 2.5, 3 weeks that I last saw you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's about 2, and then we spoke briefly, and
I've been on a cruise for a week, by the way.
and how was it?
It was really relaxing, and it helped me get back into my headspace. Being alone out in the ocean for a week, and also visiting Mexico, which is so beautiful and like very naturey, getting connected with nature.
Well, following what we spoke about last time, getting into your headspace is what you wanted.
Mm-hmm.
And so did you find there was less distraction when you were on the boat, even though you were really busy?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I didn't have internet or data.
At all?
No, I didn't have any connection with like the internet world, and it was really good for me. Just like disconnect from like my friends and everything. Just kind of I was just very in the present, in the now.
How nice. Yeah, I just saw the book lying here, The Power of Now. Is that what you're reading?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's a great book.
It's nice to detox from electronics and social media for a little bit. But I don't think you often hear younger people detoxing from it.
Well, no.
No, because I think when I grew up, there wasn't an iPhone. So I remember just having no connection with friends unless if I saw them.
That's amazing.
Isn't it?
I wish I knew what that was like.
Yeah.
It's just natural too. Like it's supposed to be like that.
It's more calm. So you've just done it. So
I did it.
Yeah, you just did it.
Yeah.
What happened? Can you tell me just a little bit about it? Were you?
Well, like skipping to like the very end of the process, I guess I was really excited to see my friends again because it was that like separation for so long. I was like, oh, like I hadn't even gotten a little hint or flavor of what it was like to like communicate with them because there was no communication at all. So it was just like it was very like gratifying to see them again after that long. Yeah. And even seeing my family again was also great.
Oh, nice. So it sort of deepened the feeling.
Mm-hmm.
And when you went back onto social media and back into interaction and back onto the internet, and were you looking at what you missed, or could you just skip it and continue?
I think I literally just skipped it and continued. Like I didn't even go back and look at like what I missed. Also, there's just so much to look back at if you try to. Because people are always uploading.
So in terms of you asking me, what is it like? Well, I can't even imagine what it was like not to have any phones or internet or anything. That's what it was like.
Yeah.
Not wanting to tap in or not feeling the need to go back and what did I miss?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, there's so much that you miss if there's no internet, and if there's no phone, or if there's no nothing. So, wonderful. Well, I'm glad you had a nice time.
It was awesome. Thank you.
Good. Okay, so in terms of today, the last time we spoke, we had our first coaching session together. And one of the things you told me afterwards that really worked for you was that we visualized some things to get you in a place. I don't know, do you call it headspace or heart space?
Like a mix of both.
It's a mix of both.
Yeah,
and. Yeah, and that you were really happy that the visualization gave you the opportunity to get into that space and see your journey a little differently.
Oh yeah, I want to show them that visualization you did because it was crazy. It's really cool.
Oh yeah, how are we going to show them that? You want to do it again?
Yeah, we could do like an example maybe later on or now, whenever you feel like it.
Okay, we can do that later on.
Okay.
Well, and basically what we did is we visualize. Should we do it later? We'll do it later on.
Later on.
We'll do it later. Okay. So it's been maybe it's even been 3.5 weeks that we saw each other. One of the main things we talked about was you're in a gap year, you're on your way to college, and the pressure is on. You need to earn money, you need to figure out which colleges you want to apply to, which means you need to think about your future and realize and know what you want. Because you can't apply if you don't know what you want. And that it was overwhelming I think that's where we started the visualization. Everything was overwhelming. So where would you say you are today in terms of the overwhelm, the college applications, the choices, the earning money, having to fly out, doing the visits, writing down what you want? Where would you say you are today?
Today, I am I'm at that point of figuring out where exactly I want to. It's hard to put into words. Where exactly I want to big. I don't know if I should say begin. It's like the beginning is always like the end.
You're always coming full circle, right?
Yeah. I'm still in the process of like deciding and like even trying to get into college. Like I'm still in that process. I'm still learning. Every day I'm still learning. And I'm always like absorbing new information. And I'm taking each day as it comes at me, basically.
Nice. You're trying to stay in the present moment.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That's really beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Because not a lot of people do that. A lot of people make to-do lists, rush after.
Right, it's really hard to stay in the now.
It really is.
I posted on Twitter, like, it's so hard to stay in the now.
What helps you stay in the now?
Just like feeling my own body. Like, okay, I'm going to feel my hand, I'm going to feel my toes, I'm going to feel, different parts of my body. Just really, like, observing what my body's feeling. That helps me get grounded and back into the now.
That's beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, I'm going to come back to the question for today because I think meditating, visualizing, getting into your body has worked for you. It's a good way for you to stay present and to figure out what your next step is one day at a time.
Speaking about the now.
Now.
I have to unplug this refrigerator right now. It might be disturbing our viewers.
Okay. So let me find my train of thought again. So this is something that works for you. But one of the things you asked me for these mentoring sessions has been, how do I get clear and work towards my college application and signing up, if that's the end goal? But how am I going to work towards it? So staying in the present moment is a really big way of moving towards that. And what I'm wondering, what would you like it to look like at the end of this session? How would you like to feel at the end of what we're doing today?
Like having a sense of direction and purpose.
Oh, wow, that's pretty big. Okay, a sense of direction and purpose. Okay. And are there moments in your life recently or even when you were younger that you remember feeling a sense of direction and a sense of purpose?
Well, that's a good question too. I think when I was like a little kid, like at the age of like 5 or 6, my sense of direction and purpose was to have like the most fun in life and just like really like just absorb everything that came at me. I was really present as a little kid and having fun and like loving my parents and just being myself. That was my sense of purpose, direction.
That's beautiful.
And I wish we could all just have that like our whole entire life.
Well, I think you can.
We can.
You can. Yeah, and I understand responsibilities and choices, and sure, there's a little more going on than when you were 5.
I feel like as I grow older, that sense of direction, purpose, like for some reason, society turns into like, oh well, that means career, or that means like work or business. It has to become this abstract thing that you have to put a label on or a name on. Yeah,
it has that form.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, whereas when you tap into that present moment and into that direction and purpose when you were 5, it's really easy because it's just to absorb everything in life and to have to enjoy, to have fun, as you said, to enjoy life.
Yeah.
And how do you think, with this purpose and direction in mind and this present moment experience that you so love, how do you think that affects other people when you're in that state, as you called your head space or maybe even heart space? When you're there, how do you think that affects other people?
I think it affects other people. I mean, I can kind of guess how it affects other people, because when I see other people that are on their like journey and their purpose, it makes me feel really great. Like when I see, for example, someone that everyone knows, like Obama, I guess, when he's on that campaign trail, you know, that's his purpose, become the president, and you just feel like really happy for him, and you feel happy too, seeing him like get there and achieve his goal. And I think that probably makes other people feel great too.
Exactly.
Not only yourself. Yeah.
Exactly. That's exactly what happens. A lot of people think it's selfish to just think of myself and the fun I want and to feel good and to love and enjoy the present moment. The thing that changes the world the most is if you do that. Because once you do that, your cup will be full and you'll be able to share it with everyone else. If your cup is empty, you're not going to have anything to give to anyone else. Yeah. Okay, well, that's beautiful. And was there another moment that you remember, maybe in your teens, before you finished high school, that you remember thinking, you've spoken about engineering a lot last time we spoke. Was that something that kept popping up when you were building something or when you were drawing something? Or would you say there was another moment where you were in a project and you thought, that feels like a real direction, that feels like some purpose for me?
Yeah, it pops up like when I'm building, or when I'm looking at like a piece of engineering that really makes me happy. Like I see how like what it does is so complicated and amazing, but it's so simple at the same time, and that just really like spurs like something in my heart. I'm like, I appreciate this because of what it can do, and how it's just so simple, but yet so fascinating and like amazing at the same time. And like I don't know, engineering, like people think that it's electrical, right, or like mechanical, but like I'm not even fully into like that whole thing. It's like like I appreciate the human body, for example, or the way like how trees grow, or bioluminescence in nature, like different technology you just find out there in the world, in nature. That really excites me, and I think that's super cool. Like we don't really need to go trying to create new technology. We can just look at the technology in nature and try to copy it and apply it to our own lives.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Because what you're saying is the structures and forms in nature.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Are crazy.
It's amazing.
And it's all there.
Like eggs, you can stand on an egg. Can you believe that? An egg can support human weight. Like that's so amazing.
Have you ever? I've never seen it. Have you?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, you can go search up a video. Like
I'll go look for a video.
Stand on an egg, and it's like its arch is in such a structure that it can support that much weight for being so thin and delicate at the same time.
There's so much more possible than we know.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's all in nature, and it's all in building. And as you said, it spurs. I love that you said it spurs something in my heart when you're busy with building.
It really does.
And it's complicated, yet simple.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's like the most amazing part. So complicated, but so simple.
So one of the things you want to set out to do today is to figure out or give voice to or describe, which one of the three is it? Your purpose and direction. Figure out.
To
describe. Feel.
I guess give voice to, kind of, yeah. and also understand more than figure out. Like, I want to understand. I want to understand the world better. It's like a big goal of mine.
To understand the world better?
Yeah, to understand the world better. I don't even need to know how the world works. I just want to understand.
Okay, wow. I think we may have to have 2 mentor sessions.
Yeah, there's some paradoxes being created here.
Yeah, but I think in the end, it'll all come down and come back together. But that's what happens in a mentoring session. First you go all over the place and then we'll narrow it back down.
Yeah.
And I think if I've listened to you well, the place that you reside did the most when you were a kid, and what you're really enjoying now is in that present moment, having fun, loving your parents.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's probably loving unconditionally and just spreading joy. And at the same time, you find that same joy and spurs something in your heart when you're busy with building and nature and seeing something come together into a grander structure that has flow.
Yeah.
Is that a little bit of your truth today?
Yeah.
Yeah?
It's like, when you said flow, by the way, that's like a state that I love being in, where I'm just like, I'm really, really immersed in what I'm doing. And that's sometimes what happens when like I edit a video or something. I just like forget where I am and I zone out. And I get so into it. And like, even though it's a lot of hard work and it's tedious, I don't even feel that. I just feel so like immersed in what I'm doing. And you're probably feeling that right now because you're doing what you love.
Yes, absolutely.
It's like, it's a state of flow. It's awesome. It feels great. And I want to be in that state all the time if I can.
State of flow, yeah. And the state of flow is different for everyone. For me, it's listening to people and helping them get to where they want to go.
Yeah.
And for you, you're figuring it out.
Yes,
where's my direction and purpose? What I love, and we talked about that last time, is you've set yourself some goals so that you have some points on the horizon to work towards to find your flow.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to ask you to recap what you've told me so far, because I think you'll find some things in your own words that describe your purpose and direction. So if I'd ask you to repeat in a nutshell what we've spoken about today, what would you tell me? Or what would you tell the viewer?
Well, we spoke about nature, presence, engineering, which is like the understanding of how things work. Wow, that's crazy. The understanding of how things work. We spoke about flow and that state of being where you feel like you're playing, like when I was a kid, and my state and purpose. My purpose was to have fun and to play. That's flow. And right now, I'm looking to find that flow in my life where I feel like I'm playing, like I'm in a playground, and life should be my playground, and my work should be my playground, and I should just have fun doing what I do. And I guess that is sort of my purpose, and that is a direction, which is really cool.
That's what I wanted to hear you describe what's going on.
Yeah.
And to filter it. It sounds like you're untangling the spaghetti a little bit by yourself, just by talking about it. Beautiful. What a beautiful purpose and direction to have.
Oh, and there's more.
I know, there's more.
I'm sure there's more.
This is just phase 1.
Yeah.
Wow, Noah, thank you. Thank you for figuring it out as you were talking, understanding how things work.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a huge part of going to college and learning for 4 years, even though that's something you said should I be doing it? Why would I be doing it? You know, what's the whole idea of this going to college?
Makes me nervous.
Makes you nervous. Of course it makes you nervous. And it makes, I remember you telling me what makes you nervous is not just the studying, but to get there, you have to apply, you have to fill in all these forms. You have to hire a coach to help you fill them in correctly so that your chances are higher to get in. You need to fly out, and for flying out, you need money, so you need a job. And so, if we go into that area, we go back into overwhelm. But we want to stay in this purpose and direction and this present moment. Eckhart Tolle's calm, because then you're taking it from a place of being instead of a place of doing.
Yeah.
And I think one of the main purposes of studying at university is to understand how things work. So when we're talking about, the fear of that next step in studying, 4 years of studying is just 4 years of understanding how things work. If, let's say, you would do engineering, you'd be learning about how it works and be learning, and you'd be understanding how things work from the perspective of engineering. And I know you like philosophy and psychology, and so you can add your own books to the
My
mix.
spice,
Your own spice, exactly. But it gives you a focus point and a purpose and direction. And you might study engineering and become a philosopher. You don't know.
Yeah.
Or you might study philosophy and become a mentor. Studying is really to give you a basic stretch of time where you focus on an academic mind and understand how things work.
And I think that's what a lot of my young friends are saying. They're like, well, I'm going to go into becoming a doctor, and then they go into becoming a doctor, and they're like, well, I don't like this at all. And what I hear older people say is just stick with it even if you don't like it, because that might lead down to another path or direction that you might like, where you can apply that knowledge. But it's just it's scary to just keep going on when you really don't feel like you belong in that category. And
yeah, I understand.
Patience, right? Lots of patience.
Yeah. You'll know.
Yeah.
You'll know. You're taking the right steps. Look, it's January. We still have 6 months to go before your applications are due, correct? What I want to do with you is move away from the mind and talking and move into a little meditation with you. Would that be okay?
Yeah.
Okay, because I think everything that we said so far may seem like it's only been 20 minutes, but you've said a lot in 20 minutes, and I want it to sink into your body and stay with you. So what I want to do is move into a little meditation. So if you could close your eyes, either close them or look down to a spot where you're not distracted by anything around you. I'm going to feed back again a few of the words that you've mentioned. I'm going to ask you to let them sink in a little bit. We're talking today about figuring out how you feel, how you can describe and give voice to your purpose and direction. We've been remembering how you felt when you were a kid, when love and fun were your first priorities. We've spoken a bit about being immersed in projects and losing track of time and getting into flow when you're working with difficult constructions that at the same time have really simple flow and make sense. And the structures and nature all have these amazing, crazy technology, and it flows. And that your interest is not just in the engineering and the building, it's also the parallels with the human body, and understanding the world better is something you want to keep doing. As we spoke, you figured out that nature and presence and engineering and the flow, the state of being where you feel like you're playing, that they all help you understand how things work, which is exactly where you want your purpose and direction to be. So if life is this playground of all these things we've spoken about, I'm going to ask you to let go of all the words that I just recapped. You may see an image of words dancing in space and moving away from you, moving away from their construct, becoming untangled, and just come back into your body, into the present moment. I'm going to ask you to bring your awareness to your feet and think of the earth underneath your feet. You might feel the heat of the earth. Move down into it a little deeper. Feel the flames coming from the inside and grounding you here in this moment. Letting go of all the words that were spoken. Your feet may tingle. You may feel either warmth or some cold as you bring your awareness up from your feet to your calves and your shins, up towards your knees, the left knee, the right knee. And feel how the warmth, how the tingling sensation, anything you may feel, it might still be the heat from the earth, from the fire. Feel it move up onto your thighs and the top of your legs. You might get a sensation of red color. Your heart may start calming down more or racing more. As you feel the heat and the redness coming into your pelvic area, maybe a swirl from red to orange to yellow, all in your belly, all in the pelvic area, grounding you into the here and now, and feeling the energy from the earth feed you. As you move up towards your chest into the heart area, you may feel your heart expand, your chest may open. It might be warm or cold, and the color green may appear. This is where you can expand out all that joy and playfulness and love. You may feel your arms stretching like that beautiful Chinese sign from one person to more, where the arms stretch out in the Chinese signing. You're unlimited. And as we move up your attention, up your arms, onto your shoulders, near your throat area, you may see the color blue. This is the part where you express yourself, give voice to. You may get a feeling of your tongue coming out, of that which is inside of you that wants to see the daylight. This is where it can all come out, your expression of who you are in the form of voice. Again, you may feel a tingling sensation go from your neck up to your chin and your jaw. Feel your jaw hanging and relaxing up to your nose and cheeks and your ears. You feel more silver and gold in color, or a halo type of energy. And when you get to the top of your forehead, between your eyebrows, you might see some purple colouring shining out. This is where you know your direction and purpose. It's just a matter of staying present, going inward and listening. Slowly, I'm going to ask you to move up to the crown of your head and imagine a thread going all the way up, 300 feet, 500 feet, 700 feet. You might feel a little pull at the top of your head of sitting straighter. And it has that silver and gold line going all the way up into the heavens, where buckets of light come down to give you energy. You may think of ancestry or angels, or you may not think of any of that at all. Just let the energy, the sparkles, the gold, the silver, feed into your body as it comes down. It may be a thread that you funnel at the top of your head so that it's not too overwhelming. And feel it come down into your body, past your ears, onto your shoulders, your chest, your belly. And slowly both sides integrate. You've got the fire and the earthy energy. You've got the light, heavenly energy coming together. And it spirals and it moves and balances you out. When you're ready, take your time. I'm going to ask you not to open your eyes, but to lift your eyelids a little and look down. Just stay there for a little bit before you open them fully. There's no rush. How are you?
I felt so good.
Did it feel good?
Like I felt the light pouring in from the thread.
Oh, you did? Yeah, that can be really powerful. That's why I had the funnel, so that it's not too overwhelming with buckets. Is there anything that happened with the dancing of the words?
I didn't see any words, but I saw like purple here, like really purple. Yeah.
Were you able to let go of the talk and the words and the chatter and the talking together?
It was just a feeling.
Good. Does it feel good?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah. It's like an understanding. I think we have a guest joining the podcast.
I think we have a guest coming in. Hi.
Hi.
哦，
我继父，
你好 ，This is my auntie。
中午你还吃饭吗？
吃呢。
Nice to meet
吃
you.
呢。那我已经焖着饭了，炒上一些菜啊。
好的。
I wish I spoke Chinese. That sounds beautiful.
Yeah, I know Chinese guys.
Yeah, so he knows Chinese. And it's so interesting that you can do it in 2 languages. So a question about what we just did. When we move into a meditation, and I'm speaking English obviously, and I'm getting you into a state by yourself, are you in a Chinese area language-wise or in an English language?
English.
You are. Ah. And so if you are writing in a diary or on a piece of paper, is it always English?
Yeah, because I don't know how to write Chinese.
Ah, sorry, I didn't know that.
I used to, but I could write in pinyin, but that's in the English language.
When do you find yourself in the Chinese language?
When I talk, or
Okay.
when I'm with Chinese people, then I switch to thinking in Chinese.
Okay.
Yeah. But it's mostly verbal.
Yeah. And so what we were talking about earlier is that when I write in my diary, because I'm bilingual, my heart language is English. So most of the writing that I do that's about how I'm feeling or my purpose and direction or emotions, it'll be in English. And if I want to get things done, I start writing in Dutch. So it's an interesting thing that happens. So what happens with you, with your heart language? Is that more English or is that more
Chinese? It's definitely more English.
It's more English.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Because I live in America and I speak more English most of the time.
Yeah.
But Chinese is, I'd say it's that, it's like a special part of me because it was actually one of the first languages I learned. Because when I was like 1 year old, I went to China and I lived there until I was 4 or 5. So
it's a special part of me.
Yeah, those are the years where you really learn, you pick up languages the most. So Chinese is always going to be in there with me. And I relate a lot of things back to Chinese because the language itself is very powerful. Like, all the words have like little hidden meanings in them and little philosophies. So it always helps me to like go back and look at it, get grounded back in my culture.
Beautiful. I don't know, obviously. But they say that Chinese is not just painting pictures in your mind. It's what you say. There's a lot of hidden meanings and philosophy captured in the characters and the words.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like the word meat, it's two people eating each other. It's crazy.
The word meat?
Meat.
Oh,
yeah. Meat.
Is two people
eating each other. Yeah.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah, it's crazy.
That is crazy is the word.
Yeah.
And do you know why?
I have no idea. No one knows why. It just is.
That's just how they made it.
That's just how they made it. Yeah.
So many years ago. Oh my.
Yeah.
Two people eating. Okay, well, I don't know what to make of that. I'm going to let that go.
It's interesting.
It's interesting.
There's lots of things.
It's interesting because you're a philosopher. I mean, the conversations that I've had with you have been a lot around building engineering, but it's also been a lot around thinking about the world, understanding the world, understanding who you are in the world, which is partly your age, but it's also interest. I know a lot of 19-year-olds. Not all of them are talking about the hidden meaning of philosophies and Chinese words.
Well, I have a lot of people around me that like kind of nudge me in these directions. Like my dad would talk about all the time. He'd always like bring up like meanings within the Chinese words and characters, and like he makes lots of connections with the English language as well, that not many people notice. But that's because he comes from speaking Chinese to speaking English, so he notices things.
Yeah, notices different things, absolutely.
Yeah. And I notice things in Chinese that they wouldn't notice just from coming from the English language to Chinese. So yeah.
Do you want me to tell you what I noticed?
What?
In this conversation, you've spoken about flow and play and life as a playground a lot. And then when I asked you when was a good time, or when was a time you remembered that your direction and purpose was really clear, and you said it was around 5 years old, and it was just about loving your parents, having lots of fun, and living from a place of heart. And you've told me that Chinese and the Chinese language has a special part, because it's a special part of you. That's what you said. And then you started explaining that was when you were about 5 years old. You said that was around when I was 5 years old. I'm just going to ask you to take a mental note. We don't have to talk about it, but take a mental note of the parallel there.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah, love and play and being in China the first 5 years of your life. And how you've mentioned both of those in the same, in the same cocoon that we're sitting here in.
Those must have been like very important parts of my life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Do you think that the first few years of your life, like the first 5 years, like really shape you for the rest of your life? Or kind of mold you in a little way?
if I look at my life, I think yes.
Yeah.
I think the first, especially 5 years of my life, but maybe 6, 7,
Mm-hmm.
they're very much an energetic imprint. And so I'm not saying you can never escape it or change it, or, you know, once you realize it and know it and understand it, you know, you can change it as well. But there is an energetic imprint in those first years.
Yeah.
Definitely. And I have 2 children and I can see it in them.
Mm-hmm.
And they're now 14 and 12. And I can see things that I'm like, oh, that's from when you were 4 and 5. I can see the imprint. And then I can give it voice, and then it might change them. So it's very interesting. A good question. I think there's a lot of imprint. If you say, you know, those first years, I was there and Chinese is a big part of me, I think,
Yeah.
And, yeah. How old were you when you... Is that when you moved here? 4 or 5?
Yeah, like 4 or 5. It was like, I don't know, it was a very like slow transition, you know, because we'd keep coming back to China during the summers as well.
Okay.
So yeah, it was a slow transition.
Was it an easy transition or was it a difficult transition?
I think it was an exciting transition for me.
Okay.
Because I was in China. I was like literally in the countryside with so few people. Like China back then was still very poor, and still dirt roads. I was just with very simple people. I was with people who didn't really know a world that was bigger than themselves, basically. And then I left that and came to America, and I connect with my grandma again. She's like really special to me, and you know that was like another connection in my life. And going to school here, and then like being in a car and just being like a city person. It's hard to remember. It's just feelings, you know.
Yeah.
It's just feelings from when I was younger, and yeah, they're just there, but they're kind of hard to describe.
Yeah, I can. But
not very logical at all.
No, that's what feelings do, right?
Yeah.
They're not very logical.
No. But
I hear you. And I think in terms of what we're talking about today, where I'm trying to get you to, do you know the word titrate?
No, I don't.
So it's to move from one thing to the next and just touching it and then moving back and touching it. So it's like a pendulum.
Mm-hmm.
And it works in, it's used a lot in trauma healing because they say in the theories are that if you touch it, instead of go back into it, you can really work with it. It's easier to deal with it.
Yeah.
And I'm seeing and hearing you talk about the same things. Going to college is another big change. Moving country from China to here, I understand that you say, I remember that was a time of direction and purpose because right after that you were moved here. And good or bad, that's a big move. That has big impact on a kid.
Yeah.
And because you're now moving into...
Like travel trauma.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
And now you're moving into going to college and it's going to be a same sort of overwhelming crossing the ocean. But if you do it in what I'm doing with my hands, if you do it in a calm way and you titrate back and forth,
then it's all good.
Then it's going to be easier.
Yeah. Oh my God, I just realized maybe I felt like homesick as a little kid. I was like, oh my God, I miss my home in China. But like, I also miss my home in America. Like, just a lot of that. The split, you know?
Yeah.
The pulling apart from the inside. It was tearing me, maybe. Perhaps.
I don't know. You know better than I do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, because there must have been a pull there and there must have been a pull here.
Mm-hmm.
And as you explain it, there wasn't a trauma because you enjoyed moving, but that doesn't make it less overwhelming when you're 5.
I left my whole one side of my family basically.
Yes.
And went to another side of my family. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess I never thought about that. That it might have been a little bit challenging for my younger self.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And the thing about the imprint that you were talking about is your younger self didn't have the mind to understand the difference between overwhelm. It wasn't, no, put it differently. It wasn't aware of the imprint that we were just talking about. So the imprint of love and playfulness and fun,
Mm-hmm.
and knowing what every day was going to be like, stopped because you were moved to the United States.
Yeah.
So it doesn't have to be anything negative, but it's good to see the parallels with what you're doing today. Do you? Is that a parallel for you? And we're talking about it?
Yeah.
Yeah?
It is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just connections that I've never been able to make by myself. Yeah.
Okay. Well, what I want to do is I'm going to go back to what we started. And we started with, I want to give voice to my feelings of direction and purpose. If we loop it back, everything that we've done, going from words to ideas to feelings, back to the past, back to now, what would you tell me now if I asked you, what at this moment today in this spot, you and me together on this couch, feels like your best purpose and direction?
What is my best purpose and direction right now?
Yeah, just in this moment. What feels
It doesn't need to be logical or
No.
I don't even need to pursue it.
No. You can let it go tomorrow or in a minute.
Like just being myself and and being content with who I am, and just being here for everyone, very conscious and grounded, just being there. That's a good purpose, I feel. At least for right now, I want to be here and be here for what we're doing right now.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
That's beautiful. Because if you do that in every moment,
mm-hmm.
the way is going to show itself. I'm going to challenge you to go to the next step, which is being grounded, being conscious, being in this moment with me, in this conversation, is the only way you're going to make a good memory of this moment. So if you're talking about the goals that you'd set for yourself about finding a college, you can do exactly the same for that. You can sit down with me or with a college coach or by yourself or with your mother. Sit down on this couch when there's no one staying here. And for an hour, just be fully yourself, fully conscious, fully grounded in the now. And read a website or information that you have on one of the colleges that you might find interesting. And if that's how you can focus your energy, that hour is going to produce an application form or a question or a next step
mm-hmm.
or a next direction. If you can be yourself, be conscious, be grounded in the now.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Is it something you've tried?
Kind of, I guess. I mean, I've called up a college coach.
You did?
Yeah. So I did that.
Cool.
Yeah, that makes sense. I don't know. It's just hard to implicate sometimes.
You mean it's hard to sit and do it?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. And the college coach, did you call or did you plan?
I called.
And
they're getting back.
They're getting back to you.
Yeah.
Okay. And are you excited about pursuing talks with the college coach?
Yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so you've made a huge step because a
Yeah.
college coach is someone who's going to help you.
I made one step. I took one action, and it's going to progress, which is good.
It's going to move from there.
Excuse
Don't worry. Okay, I want to leave it at this. Would you like to feedback me? No, first, is there anything else you need from me today?
me.
Is there anything I can do for you?
Oh, would you like to listen to like a quote from here?
Yes, I would.
Cool.
Okay, so this is The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. So this is one that I really thought helped me out. The present moment is sometimes unacceptable, unpleasant, or awful. And that's like a statement that he makes, and then he replies to himself. It is as it is. Observe how the mind labels it and how this labeling process, this continuous sitting in judgment, creates pain and unhappiness. By watching the mechanics of the mind, you step out of its resistance patterns, and you can then allow the present moment to be. This will give you a taste of the state of inner freedom from external conditions, the state of true inner peace. Then see what happens and take action if necessary or possible. Accept, then act. Whatever the present moment contains, accept it as if you had chosen it. Always work with it, not against it. Make it your friend and ally, not your enemy. This will miraculously transform your whole life. Yeah.
Has that worked for you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just like not trying to like, it's okay if we talk about DMT or like ayahuasca.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. So apparently I heard that when you take ayahuasca, you have to not resist or what's it called? Like you need to be able to let go and just surrender to the experience, right?
Yeah.
And that's like the same thing when you're in life and you're like resisting something, like, oh, like I don't want to feel this. Instead, just like feel it and let it happen, and you'll feel great after.
Surrender to it.
Surrender to it. Yeah.
This is it. I'm working with what is instead of what you think you might want.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. But it takes a lot of practice to get there.
Oh yeah, it takes so much practice.
It does, and to accept that whatever's happening now, even if it's not the way you thought it was going to be, or you prefer it was a little different, but once you accept it fully for what it is in this moment, then you're in reality.
Yeah.
You know, and it's more real than all the thoughts and notions you had about what it should have been. So I get it. Wow. Do you have an example of how you worked with this in your life?
Like a little thought experiment I did?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So one of the thought experiments he talks about in this is just like close your eyes and then think to yourself, I wonder what my next thought is going to be. And then observe your mind trying to come up with that next thought. And just by doing that, you are literally like, you're in the present moment because you're observing your mind trying to come up with the next thought. And usually you'll never be able to come up with the next thought because you're so present and you're so grounded that it just doesn't happen. It's amazing. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah. That's a way to like get into the now, into the present.
Yeah.
A little trick.
And I remember when we first started talking, I was a little taken aback because we're doing this on camera today, and we're making a podcast and we're doing this.
It's hard to talk from the camera. It's really challenging. It's
It
like
really
a whole
is.
other thought that you have to think about.
Yes, and I've decided to ignore it today.
Yeah.
But in the beginning, there was this little voice, and I was observing my voice saying, gosh, what are you going to sound like? This isn't what you wanted. You look really ridiculous. You should have worn something else. Will it be good as good as last time? Are your questions going to be insightful?
I was thinking that too.
Yes. Will I really help Noah with his next step? You know, and it's all going to be fixed on camera. So that's how it works. And then when you observe it, I observed it, and I was like, well, it doesn't matter. I just want
It
to
does
focus
matter.
on flow.
Yeah.
And we talked about it in the beginning. I just want Noah to walk away feeling fulfilled and that he took a next step.
Yeah, exactly.
Interesting. Oh, thank you for that quote.
No
It's
problem.
also, do you know Dr. Joey Dispenza?
No, I haven't.
He's all about quantum physics and reality. Well, I'm not, he's a lot more than that, but he speaks about getting into that meditative state where you go from somebody to nobody, something to nothing, somewhere to nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
And once you're there are infinite possibilities because you get yourself linked to the universe and to infinite possibilities, and you're in a heart space and you're full of gratefulness, and you work with what is because everything's already here. I'm already super grateful that we're doing this together, and yes, you're getting something out of it, but so am I, and so what more do I want?
It's the best things in life are win-win.
Yes, well said. Symbiotic, definitely. That's how I see my mentoring and coach work as well. It's really,
it's the best.
Reciprocity, is that the word?
Yeah, it's like it's the hardest thing to come by. Is like when there's the win-win. So hard, but like that's like nature. That's like the whole entire world in nature is so win-win, and that's what makes it so cool.
Yeah. Wow. Thanks for this insightful and beautiful meeting together, Noah.
Thank you.
Yes, pleasure. It was my pleasure. It's always nice to be in my workflow. Yeah, and you will find yours. I think you've said some really insightful things. I think it would help a lot of people when you were talking about, oh, wait a minute, I want to understand how things work, but engineering is all about understanding how things work. And not that has to be your choice, because biology is also all about how things work, and physics is also about how things work, and nature. So it doesn't have to narrow your decision, but it shows you where your interest lies. Yeah.
Okay, so before we end it, you want to plug your business? Contact
I want to plug my business. Yes, I do. Okay, so my name is Barbara Piper, and I work as a life mentor and coach. And what I help you do is I help you to get to a place of calm. And I don't know your answers, you know your answers. And so what I do best is to get you to a place where you can find those answers. And today we've done a little bit of visualization and meditation. It's one of the ways that I work. And often my mentoring and coaching is 3 to 5 short, high impact conversations where I get you back to you, so that you can start living from that place where you know best. That's what I do.
Wow.
And that's what I love. Thank you. I'm going to give you a hug.
Thank you.
It's been so much fun.
Thank you.
Yeah, my pleasure. My pleasure.